Hello, and welcome to Morgan Le Roche's latest webinar on managing mental health in the workplace. Welcome to Morgan Le Roche's presentation on mental health in the workplace. My name is Lucy, and I am a member of the employment team at Morgan Le Roche. In this session, we will be looking at the term mental health and how it is defined, why mental health should be on every employer's agenda. We will look at aspects of an employer's duty of care and the legislation around it, some interesting facts and statistics, and look at ways you can positively promote mental health awareness at work. We'll touch on the consequences to employers for not tending to mental health matters, and we'll also signpost you to some helpful resources. Take a few moments to consider this question. When you hear the term mental health, what does it bring to mind for you? According to the World Health Organization, it is a state of well-being in which the individual realizes his or her own abilities, can cope with the normal stresses of life, can work productively and fruitfully, and is able to make a contribution to his or her community. This is described in a positive way, and yet for many years, the subject of mental health has been somewhat taboo. Often those suffering with poor mental health do so in silence. Thankfully, in recent years, much has been done to dampen the stigma around mental health, but a lot of misunderstanding remains. This in itself is not overly surprising, because if you have not experienced poor mental health yourself, or seen the effect of poor mental health on others around you at some point in your life, it might be difficult to imagine what it is like. But just like everyone has physical health, everyone has mental health, both in varying degrees of wellness and at different times. Physical health is much more tangible, as you can see physical effects. As an example, imagine having a broken leg. It is relatively easy to think about what that might feel like, the pain and the inconvenience you might experience, and you would also have some idea on how to remedy it. Most likely, a trip to A&E, a period of time with your leg splintered or in plaster, and perhaps some physio could fix this. It is unlikely people would feel uncomfortable around you. No doubt you'd experience much empathy even from strangers who would likely express their well wishes to you and wish you a good recovery. You would be very unlikely not to seek medical help. Just think how debilitating it would be to allow the break to heal itself, not to mention the risk of causing permanent damage or misalignment of the bone. Now think of a common mental health condition like clinical depression. It is far from tangible, can be extremely debilitating, and its predominant symptoms include low mood and exhaustion. With that in mind, sufferers can be easily misunderstood and often report feeling a perception that they are lazy or unsociable. They can receive comments from others to cheer up or snap out of it, as though suffering with mental ill health is a choice, when it very much is not. So, why should you, as employers, be concerned with this? In accordance with the Equality Act 2010, a person with a physical or mental impairment can be classed as disabled if their condition has substantial impact on their day-to-day activities. So if employers don't follow good practice, they face the risk of disability discrimination claims. Given that 1 in every 4 people will experience mental ill health at some point in their life, it is actually far more common than musculoskeletal illnesses. According to the Centre for Mental Health, the cost to UK employers due to mental health related matters was a staggering £34 billion last year. Absenteeism can contribute to the employer's costs, but so can presenteeism. Presenteeism occurs when the employees who are not fit for work still attend work. If their cognitive functioning is impaired as a result of mental ill health matter, this can lead to mistakes being made, which could have a detrimental effect on the business and in some instances be dangerous. In accordance with the Mental Health Act and Equality Act, employers have a duty of care to protect the health, safety and well-being of their staff, as far as is reasonably practical. Risk to mental health in the workplace may stem from work pressures, resulting in high levels of stress. While stress itself is not an illness, it is a symptom, which can be debilitating and give rise to anxiety and/or depression, both of which can result in long-term absences. So to summarise why employees need to be aware of mental health. 1, it's the law. 2, it can be costly if ignored. And 3, employers have a duty of care to their staff. There are 3 commonly occurring mental health issues, which we will discuss briefly. Depression, anxiety and stress, with the help of information provided by the Mental Health Foundation. Depression, according to the Mental Health Foundation, is defined as a common mental health problem that causes people to experience low mood, loss of interest or pleasure, feelings of guilt or low self-worth, disturbed sleep or appetite, low energy and poor concentration. When defining anxiety, they describe it as a feeling of unease, worry or fear which, when persistent and impacting on daily life, may be a sign of an anxiety disorder. And while stress itself is not a mental health condition, but a symptom or an initiator of mental ill health, the Foundation describes stress as the adverse reaction people have to excessive pressure or other types of demand placed on them at work. With this in mind, it gives you an idea of how this can cause issues in the workplace and why employers should be proactive in tackling mental health issues. We'll now take a look at some interesting facts and statistics regarding mental health that have been reported on by Time to Change. 1 in every 4 people in the UK will experience a mental health problem every year. 28% of people with severe mental health problems have been victims of a crime in the previous year. It is reported that a staggering 90% of people with mental health problems experience some kind of stigma. You may be surprised to learn that a third of people will experience suicidal thoughts at some point in their life. 2/3 of people with mental health problems believe that workplace stress contributed to their illness. The majority of people with a mental health problem are reported to wait over a year before speaking to friends and family about it. 57% of young people with mental health problems say that fear of stigma has stopped them from applying for a job. But it's not all doom and gloom. Next, we'll take a look at how a proactive approach to dealing with mental health can reap benefits for employers. The positive outcomes of tackling mental health in the workplace include reduced turnover and retain a skilled workforce. Happy and healthy staff are less likely to leave. Reduced cost of sickness absence payments, reduced presenteeism and associated cost of errors. It would decrease the risk of grievances and disability discrimination claims from employees, improve staff morale, engagement and commitment, which in turn optimises business performance, demonstrate a commitment to corporate social responsibility, and businesses who take an active interest in the well-being of their workforce will be seen as an employer of choice, which will attract future top talent. If nothing is done, employers run the risk of damaging their business in terms of reputation, productivity, and give rise to costly tribunal claims. When things go wrong, there can be costly consequences for employers who may have to defend their actions in an employment tribunal. The compensation for discrimination claims are uncapped. It is not uncommon for tribunals to grant awards of tens of thousands and hundreds of thousands of pounds, depending on the case. An employer could also face claims for compensation for breach of statutory duty, and damages can include financial loss and personal injury, both physical and mental, and include claims for injury to feelings, which is uncapped, depending upon the seriousness of the case. Earlier this year, a claimant known only as AB was diagnosed with severe depression and psychosis after years of bullying behaviour at her workplace, where she was employed in several branches of NatWest, owned by the Royal Bank of Scotland, RBS. An award of over £4.7 million was granted to the claimant. It is believed that this is the largest amount awarded in a discrimination case to date, and with appropriate management of the situation, could largely have been avoided. There are a number of organisations that can help with you to plan how to promote mental health in the workplace and how to prioritise employees' well-being. These are just a few you can go to for advice and free resources, including awareness training for line managers online. Time to Change offer a programme which is free for employers to sign up and gives some framework around how to create a wellbeing strategy. And ACAS offer a range of resources to assist with policies and procedures. The Health and Safety Executive offers a helpful talking toolkit, including stress risk assessment templates, which is free for businesses to download and use. To create a positive culture around mental health needn't be costly. Consider setting up a working group of mental health champion volunteers from all levels of the organisation, preferably led and endorsed by senior management. Mental health first aid courses are readily available from occupational health providers and are an inexpensive way to support your workforce. You may have an employee assistance programme which can be promoted to offer your staff confidential wellbeing support, as well as training for managers. While in the current climate of COVID-19, staff wellbeing should be high on the agenda more than ever. In these difficult times, you may need to consider alternative virtual ways to get your messages heard, but are still doable nonetheless. Thank you for your time. This concludes our session on mental health in the workplace. If you have any questions on this or any aspects of our services, please contact us.